I read something today, folks, that surprised me in one respect, didn't in another. It was Martin OFFIAH, I don't know those of you that remember him, old Chariots himself, yes, ex-rugby union player, switched over to rugby league and made a great success of it. One of the greatest wingers we've seen in modern times for the last 50 years, I would suggest. Great finisher. Maybe not quite as good as the all-time greats, certainly not a patch on the greatest ever, but definitely a fantastic winger. Yes, he was saying in the press yesterday, today, he believes Wigan are in a position now where they may dominate for years to come, as they did the time he was there. What was it, 30 odd years ago now, I'm guessing it was. I think he's about 58 now, old Martin. About 30 odd years ago, they were winning everything, league after league after league. I think they won about 7 Challenge Cups on the bounce. Absolutely unheralded, really. Fantastic time for them. Did my head in. Completely did my head in. When you only live 10 miles away from them, they're winning everything and you're winning nothing. It's not nice, I promise you. Anyway, they were the Manchester United of the day. Probably even better, more dominant than United everywhere, I would suggest. Yes, he said, after winning the league last year, and I think they won the grand final, as they call it, if memory serves. I'm sure they did. I've forgotten already because we weren't in it. Well, we got knocked out of it. He thinks they're going to do really well. They've made 4 or 5 significant signings. They've got a new boy on board running the club. I think he's a billionaire. Not a millionaire, a billionaire. I think he's a local lad. So he's going to pump some dosh into it. Doesn't always work. That's Warrington fans here with Simon. We've had Simon Moran pumping loads and it's not been working. But they're starting from a winning position. They've just won things. So this guy's come, made 4 or 5 signings, got millions of pounds there to throw into. Oh, well, lots of money to throw into it, should I say. And the future looks bright for him, according to Martin. I hope old Chariots is wrong there. But anyway, he was saying that, and I was just reading the piece, and I read something, and I was a bit shocked. I really was. I mean, rugby league fans will know him well, especially those of my age and slightly younger. But he was saying when he played for Wigan, he got 186 tries in 159 games, which in itself is fantastic. It's great finishing. It's more than a try a game. And when you consider they only have, 30 games per season, it might have been 35 plus then, it's in 5 or 6 seasons. It's good going. But I do remember when Charlie, I think it was Josh Charlie, left Wigan, he was on the better than a try a game. I'm pretty sure he was. And a few wingers over the last 10, 15, 20 years have done a try a game or even a bit better. And I was shocked that OFFIAH's stats weren't even better than that. Because when he was at Widnes, he was good. And they were a good Widnes team if I was in. And he had great help from the backs there to create and give him the opportunity to score as many tries at Widnes. He had an even better class of player at Wigan. There were superstars from 1 to 13. And the 4 guys on the bench. Or was it 2 then? I can't remember. I think it was 2. They were just superstars wherever you looked. And I thought, I just seem to remember the 4, 5, 6 trials he got. And he got lots of them. I couldn't believe he'd only just done better than 1 in 1. I know it's a fair bit better, but not massively better. It's nowhere near 2 in 1. And I just thought to myself, honestly, it's just what your memory does to you. I always thought he was that prolific. His stats were much greater than that, and surprisingly they weren't. I just wonder what other rugby league fans thought. Well, had you read that yourself, I think you'd have probably thought as a rugby league fan, God, that's good going. And it is, granted, it's fantastic. But in your mind's eye, did you think he'd done better than that? Because I did. I couldn't remember how many games he played at Wigan. Couldn't remember how many tries he scored. But if somebody told me he was just a little bit better than a 1 try per game man, I wouldn't have believed that. The service he got and the players he had round him and the speed that he possessed and that swerve, unbelievable, absolutely deadly. I can't believe he only got that many tries. I mean, I think the young boy at Wigan now, what's the guy? I don't mean French and the other guy. Is it Marshall on the wing? I think Marshall's very close to a 1 in 1. I'm sure he is. And he's a bit of a speedster. He's an underrated player, is that Marshall. He's a lot better than people have given him credit for. But he's nowhere near the OFFIAH League. Absolutely nowhere near. OFFIAH had burned him off in all ways. OFFIAH was much the more elusive player. But the stats, I would imagine, are very similar. And it's surprising. And I'll tell you now, the team OFFIAH played in was much better than the Wigan one are now. For all they've just won everything, it was much better. Anyway, I'll leave that one with you, rugby league fans. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Do I not know what I'm talking about? If you think I don't, just tell me. I won't be offended. It won't bother me one iota.